He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask a question remains a fool forever. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls and others build windmills. Patience is a bitter plant, but it has sweet fruit. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody. Talk doesn't cook rice. The temptation to quit will be greatest just before you are about to succeed. A gem is not polished without rubbing, nor a man perfected without trials. Teachers open the door, but you must enter by yourself. Don't fear the enemy that attacks you, but the fake friend that hugs you. If you stand straight, do not fear a crooked shadow. The person who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the person doing it. A wise man makes his own decisions. An ignorant man follows public opinion. When you drink the water, remember the spring. The best fighter is never anger. He who strikes the first blow admits he's lost the argument. To know the road ahead, ask those coming back. The palest ink is better than the best memory. Man who waits for roast duck to fly into mouth must wait very, very long time. Falling leaves return to their roots. One generation plants the trees, another gets the shade. The tallest tree is rooted in the ground. A single conversation with a wise man is worth a month's study of books. A book is like a garden carried in the pocket. Don't curse the darkness, light a candle. Do not remove a fly from your friend's forehead with a hatchet. Gold cannot be pure, and people cannot be perfect. He who loves the vase loves also what is inside. A fall into a ditch makes you wiser. A clear conscience never fears midnight knocking. A bad workman blames his tools. A wise man adapts himself to circumstances as water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it. If you want to know what the emperor is like, look at his officials. The swiftest horse can't overtake a word once spoken. A smile will gain you 10 more years of life. To believe in one's dreams is to spend all of one's life asleep. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. A diamond with a flaw is worth more than a pebble without imperfections. Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. A bit of fragrance always clings to the hand that gives roses. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier. A man who does not plan ahead will find trouble at his door. An inch of time is an inch of gold, but you can't buy that inch of time with an inch of gold. When the heart is at ease, the body is healthy. Even a hare will bite when it is cornered. If you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. If you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. He who speaks without modesty will find it difficult to make his words good. A fall into a ditch makes you wiser. To believe in one's dreams is to spend all of one's life asleep. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. When anger rises, think of the consequences. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Real gold is not afraid of the test of fire. He who knows he has enough is rich. An invisible thread connects those who are destined to meet. Regardless of time, place, or circumstance, the thread may stretch or tangle, but it will never break. The person attempting to travel to Rhodes at once will get nowhere. The glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. If you don't want anyone to know it, don't do it. A clever person turns great troubles into little ones, and little ones into none at all. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. Do not fear going forward slowly, fear only to stand still. A closed mind is like a closed book, just a block of wood. He who seeks revenge should dig to graves. The greater the difficulty, the greater the glory. A frog in a well does not know the great sea. A wise man learns more from his enemies than a fool from his friends. A fool judges people by the presents they give him. He who sacrifices his conscience to ambition burns a picture to obtain the ashes. The superior man understands what is right, the inferior man understands what will sell. He who eats the fruit should at least plant the seed. When you have only 2 pennies left in the world, buy a loaf of bread with one hand, a lily with the other. Don't listen to what they say, go see. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. A fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. Man who stand on hill with mouth open will wait long time for roast duck to drop in. The person who removes a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. A clear conscience never fears midnight knocking. The hardest thing of all is to find a black cat in a dark room especially if there is no cat. To understand your parents' love, you must raise children yourself. Do not be concerned about the future. Keep your attention on today. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. A good fortune may forebode a bad luck, which may in turn disguise a good fortune. The more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. The tongue can paint what the eyes can't see. Don't worry about people stealing your ideas. If your ideas are any good, you'll have to ram them down people's throats.